Yo, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all the other episodes, stop by raprankings.com or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform.
Welcome back. Our guest today is a man of many talents. Some of you listening may be former students of this man. Some of you may recognize him as one of the voices behind WWE superstar and current King of the Ring, Xavier Woods' theme song. He's also the voice behind AEW's All Out, Revolution, and Fyter Fest themes, as well as the theme song to Ring of Honor's 17th anniversary G1 Supercard, which took place at the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. Some of you may recognize him from the soundtrack to Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Mortal Kombat 11 Monaco, and more. He's the first rapper to be officially licensed by a major game developer. Some of you may even have read his memoir, Dream Master, or heard his new album, Live 95, which peaked at number 6 on Billboard's current rap album chart. He is the Guinness World Record holder for most songs commercially available to reference a video game. He is the one, the only, the living legend, Mega Ran.
Oh my God. I'm glad I didn't hear that intro ahead of time because, wow, that was beautiful.
Thank you.
That might have been the greatest.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It might have been the greatest intro I've ever had. Can I record that and put it on an album or something?
Yeah. You have our full permission to sample me.
That was so good. I might have to sample you. Thank you, man. That was very humbling. And, it's funny, when you're constantly moving, you don't really take time to think about the things that you've accomplished or done, And so listening to that, I was just like, wow, I did that. I did that too. Oh, dang, I did do that. So it's a really cool look back. So thank you.
When we do these intros, the more hats someone wears, the more I have to add. And you wear quite a few hats, including you are a big wrestling fan, which is why we wanted to bring you in. And, Mel, in the folder, before we get into the rating system, I do want to play a little bit of the new King Woods theme by Mega Ran.
Oh,
nice.
Okay. Nice. All right, let's see.
So we've got that in the folder. And if you've been watching WWE and you've seen Woods run as king after this King of the Ring tournament they had, Mega Ran is one of the voices on that song.
Yes. Shout out to Sazy, who also appears on there. Such an honor, you know what I mean? Talk about bucket list, being able to actually perform someone's theme song. That's something I've always had on the back of my mind. Oh man, I want to do that one day. And finally it happened.
All right. Well, we got it in the folder here. Mega Ran, Sazy, Bow Down, parentheses, King Woods here. Here we go.
Bow down, bow down, bow down. Yeah, it's time. Bow down, can't stop, can't quit, gotta make 'em bow down.
Going in for the win, I'ma make 'em bow down.
Yeah, got the world up in my hands and they know just who I am. When they see me, I'ma make 'em bow down. Feel good to be the king. This is destiny right here. You know what to do. Bow down. They couldn't stop me no matter how hard they tried. Step into the spotlight and now I feel alive. Under pressure, underrated. Yeah, that's just the way I thrive. Cause it's mine, yeah, it's mine, yeah.
Yeah, it's all eyes on me. What I smell right now, one thing, victory. I may trip but never fall. Enemies who standing tall. And my name you hear them call. And you know I'ma make 'em bow down.
Bow down, can't stop, can't quit, gotta make 'em bow down.
Going in for the win, I'ma make 'em bow down.
Yeah, got the world up in my hands and they know just who I am. When they see me, I'ma make 'em bow down. Can't stop, can't quit, gotta make 'em bow down.
Going in for the win, I'ma make 'em bow down.
Yeah, got the world up in my hands and they know just who I am. When they see me, I'ma make 'em bow down. They couldn't stop me no matter how hard they tried. Step into the Yeah, that's just the way I thrive. Cause it's mine, yeah, it's mine, yeah.
Yeah, it's all eyes on me. What I smell right now, one thing, victory. I may trip but never fall. Enemies who standing tall. And my name you hear them call. And you know I'ma make them bow down.
Bow down. Can't stop, can't quit, gotta make them bow down.
Going in for the win, I'ma make them bow down.
Yeah, got the world up in my hands and they know just who I am. When they see me, I'ma make them bow down. Can't stop, can't quit, gotta make them bow down.
Going in for the win, I'ma make them bow down.
Yeah, got the world up in my hands and they know just who I am. When they see me, I'ma make them bow down.
Okay, let's go. Bow down.
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard. Okay.
Hey.
Hey, you know?
Hey,
I want to
man,
say
congrats on that. It's a awesome theme when he comes out, you know, for his singles matches and on this run as King, which is something that if you guys don't know, you know, Woods has sort of, you know, petitioned for this King of the Ring for a long time. This was like a bucket list, lifelong dream of his. So, you know, this theme, being able to do that theme for him for such like a pivotal point in his career for him must be just an awesome feeling.
Oh yeah, like he's dreamed about this for a long time. He had the plan of what to do, what he was going to wear, you know, like all the way down to like he had planned it out like in notebooks from the beginning before he even got into WWE. So it's really awesome to see. Man, I tell him all the time, I'm like, dude, like you're the master of, you know, bringing things to fruition. Like you think it, you dream it, and then it happens somehow. I'm like, this is just insanity. You know, his entire career has just been like that. He's like, let's do this. And then it just happens, you know,
that manifestation kids talk about. You know?
Yeah, for sure, man. Like, I was like, man, what's next? Like, president? He's like, no, like I know he wants to host. He wants to host like a Nickelodeon game show next. So
that would be. Listen,
I think that's like that's just a matter of time. I think
He's like low key so talented. He puts up videos sometimes online on like Instagram, and he's playing bass and stuff. I'm just like, oh my god, this guy is just like on another level.
Yeah, anytime I think like, oh, I'm tired of, you know, working and touring and traveling, I always think about his schedule. And sometimes I need a reminder. So I'll text him like, hey, man, what's your schedule for this week? And then he'll send me this screenshot. And I'm like, oh, well, all right, let me shut up now. Because this guy's literally taking like 3 flights in a day, going here, there, everywhere, home for like 2-3 hours, back out, moving around. And I'm like, all right, well, let me shut up and try to make the most of this.
Yeah, you can. You don't know this about me, but everybody who listens to the show knows I'm basically like the Nickelodeon man. So the idea of him hosting like a game show, that just, I mean, like I totally see it. He'd be the
right,
perfect
like
fit
he
for
would be
so.
perfect, you know?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
This is Megaran's first time on the show, and you know, whenever we have a guest come on for the first time, I think we should explain the rating system to them, and you know, any new listeners who are going to be joining us. How do we rate these songs? Because that's important.
All right, that daggone rating system of ours. Okay, this won't take long. And at any point, if you're you know, confused or it sounds convoluted, feel free to stop me and ask questions. So yeah, here's the rating system. The rating system is simple. Each song is rated on a scale of 1 to 10. These numbers do not reflect the quality of a song, as that is indeterminable. Instead, each number reflects a level of enjoyment. In short, here's what each number means. 10 means this is a perfect song to me, one of my favorite songs of all time. 9 means I love it. 8 means I like it a lot. 7 means I like it. 6 means it's alright. I don't dislike it, but I can't say that I like it. 5 means I feel practically nothing about this. 4 means it's not the worst thing I've ever heard, but I dislike it. 3 means I dislike it. 2 means I hate it. And 1 means I absolutely can't stand it. One of the worst things I've ever heard. Side note, you can add a plus or a minus to those numbers. Those pluses and minuses have no mathematical or statistical value. They are merely indicators that mean one of two things. First thing it means is like saying a strong or light version of that number. So if you want to throw a plus on a 6, it's like a strong 6. Minus on a 7, light 7. Second thing is it indicates that it could go up or down in the future. The ratings on the show aren't static. We have a whole segment dedicated to our changing ratings throughout time called I Was Fucking Tripping. So, that 6 plus is a sign one day it could be a 7 or 8 or a 9, or it could drop one day. So that's what those pluses and minuses are for. Don't panic when you hear it. They just, like I said, no mathematical or statistical value. And that's pretty much it. That's the rating system. So,
all right.
Yeah. Everything.
Well, now sense? I have to ask. I mean, yeah, it makes total sense, but I have to ask: has anything gotten a 1 out of you guys?
Not yet.
Great question.
The 2 minus is my lowest so far
on the show, right?
Yeah, 2 minus.
In our private lives, I think I've only ever given 1, and this rating system has been in effect since I believe 2016. And even then, I don't know if it's still a 1. Like, I have to re-review it. I mean, I may have been harsh, but yeah, I mean, the 1s and the 10s, they're not given out every day. It's always like a huge ordeal when it happens, So, yeah. No, there's only been 1, and that was off the show, just in my private ratings.
Oh yeah, there's been a 1 for me, but not on the show yet.
Okay.
And the person I gave the 1 to is an artist who I don't see us ever actually reviewing.
Okay.
That's the best way I could put it.
Huh. Well, we'll have to get to him eventually. Our whole, slogan on the show is every album in history, every album.
Well, yep. So, you got to get there.
Yeah. We might do some reshuffling of the schedule to avoid certain things, but it's inevitable. Eventually we're going to have to come across.
Every album comes for us eventually.
Yeah, that's right. So with all that said, we are here to do this album, You Can't See Me, by John Cena and the Trademarc. In the first track, probably, it's safe to say the most well-known track on the album, John Cena's theme song, The Time Is Now. Produced by Jake One.
Yes.
Who
on the It's the Real podcast mentioned that he doesn't get royalties from this, which sucks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Some sort of whatever deal he signed with WWE, they didn't cut him in on the royalties on this.
Oh yeah, they don't cut you in. They want to own it.
Well, listen, pal, it's property of my intellect.
No, it's like, their thing is for sure. It's like we made it hot, so we want it all.
They pay you off top, but they're not going to pay you royalties on the song being used on their they don't pay the wrestlers royalties, So, don't think that the musicians who are working, like Jim Johnson, who did a lot of the great themes in WWE, I don't think he makes royalties off of them.
That's a shame. That man's a legend.
Yeah, he was just a contracted talent, essentially, just working for them. And
that's crazy. Yeah, because this dude has made some of the biggest, songs for, like, he should be good for life. Like, he should be set for life.
Yes, he should. He should have 50% of those songs, but that's neither here nor there. We do like to invite the guests to be the first to rate a song, if they like.
Okay. I'm going to say first, before I make any sort of rating, I'm completely biased on this for a lot of reasons. Fine. As a big wrestling fan, like, I would be totally honest before I even rate it and say, this is not a song I play in my everyday life. It does not have a home on any playlist that I've created, unless it was a wrestling playlist that I, put together. However, when that song plays in an arena full of 15,000 people and something electric just happens and people go nuts, and it's for that reason that I'm going to give this song an 8, because
that's more than fair.
Because it's a banger. Like, the lyrics aren't the greatest. I'm But that's not what it's about. It's the fact that I think in wrestling, I give wrestlers so much more props when they sing their own theme song. Mm-hmm. Like I just, for some reason, I've always loved it when the wrestler sings the song. So for him to actually have rapped it, it's like, oh, okay. Like it gets a lot of credit for me on that. Beats a super banger, which definitely gives it a little more credit for me. So yeah, I gotta give it an 8, man. I think this is thanks to wrestling, it will be like a forever piece, of history. And this song will never be forgotten, not in our lifetime.
Facts. Wholeheartedly agree with that. In fact, I'm happy to report I agree with you. Listen, Mel and Mega Ran connect because I also give this a flat 8. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's fair. I mean, I almost went 9, but I had to let my full mark back. I had to back down a little bit.
It's so funny because we all ended up, I think, with the same feeling here. When I went to rate this album, the first time I listened to the album, I gave the song a 9-, and that's not my rating, by the way. But I gave the song a 9-. And then I thought to myself, okay, remove wrestling from the equation here. And think about this as a song. If you just heard this song because it was produced by Jake One, I like Jake One, and it was pitched to me as this is a Boston rapper named John Cena. He was never a wrestler. What would I think of the song? The beat could probably get it over. I'd probably give it maybe a 7-. So me with my bias and what it means to me as a wrestling fan is why I give this an 8+. Ding me, baby.
Okay. So with the 8+. Okay, I'll see.
Okay.
I give the song an 8+, and I fully admit, we rate based on enjoyment, not on, some sort of quality metric that we try to get to. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you. The bars are there, for lack of a better word. But the chorus is good, and the beat is banging. And then I just think about, that in-arena experience. I've actually only seen John Cena wrestle in person once at Money in the Bank 2016. It was the beginning of his feud with AJ Styles. And that was amazing to see him come out to the music and just the feeling that, like you said, the electricity that sort of comes over the arena when, John's doing his entrance. I've heard Mel talk about, he gets extremely emotional watching it on TV, and he cries sometimes.
Embarrass me in front of Mega Ran.
Wow.
I have cried to John Cena's entrance before, yes.
All right. I mean, I can respect it, man. Wrestling is quite an emotional journey.
Damn it.
I mentioned this a little bit earlier in part 1, but my background with John Cena is he's one of the guys in wrestling who actually made me become a lapsed fan for a while. I was not into it because when he debuted, if you remember, against Kurt Angle, my favorite pro wrestler of all time, he looked like an unfinished creator wrestler from SmackDown versus Raw or something like that. Like
that's true.
The prototype, basically.
He was very plain, and I love Kurt Angle as well. I wasn't watching at that time. I was out of the game for a minute, so I missed Cena's debut.
Yeah,
I think
that was the beginnings of me getting out of the game, and I was seeing guys like him, Lesnar with just the plain black tights, Orton coming in. These guys all went on to be goats for the record.
Yeah,
but early on, I didn't see it. I was like, "Where's Austin? Where's The Rock?"
Yeah, that was the big youth movement of SmackDown that they really needed to stay alive because Austin wasn't around, Rock wasn't around, Mick Foley, all the guys that got us into the biggest times of wrestling history, where Austin, Rock, Triple H, these guys. And then as those guys got older, they had to bring in a new youth movement, and it was just about wrestling ability, for a long time. Well, SmackDown was considered like the worker show. Like these guys went out there, burned it down. They just weren't the household names yet, but they would just have these banger matches. And so, but at that time they didn't have the star power for me. So it definitely pulled me out of it.
Same. And, you know, it was not until The Rock and John Cena at 28 where I finally was like, okay, I have respect for this guy. And then over, you know, since 2012, after I kind of got over the fact that this guy, he is a legend, and he gave so much to The Rock in that match and made him look so good. I was just like, you know, he's great. I love John Cena. And ever since then, I've gone back, watched a lot of the stuff I missed, and then continued to be a Cena fan ever since. So, like, at this point, we're doing this review. I have to give this an 8+ because of how John Cena makes me feel and this song. But in 2005, or when did this album come out?
2005.
Yeah.
I would have given this like a 6, probably.
Yeah. History has actually been kind to this song because it still holds up. And I mean, props to WWE for sticking with it, you know, basically keeping John Cena at almost the same gimmick for this now 15, 17, 18, 20 years now. And, you know, not changing the music, not changing what he was doing, and really just laying it in. And wrestling fans get tired of things quickly. And I thought when you said that you had kind of checked out, I thought it was going to be that during that time where Cena was just winning all the time, where they, you know, it became a meme. LOL, Cena wins.
Super Cena.
Super Cena. Yeah, Cena wins, LOL, because literally he would just beat everyone for like years in a row. And so people got so tired of it that they literally turned on him, you know, and started booing when his music would hit. And that was where the John Cena sucks chant came from. And now we kind of do it out of love, you know, because we appreciate him. But at that time, that was the first example of, I guess, getting a character forced down your throat. You know, a lot of people talk about it with like Roman Reigns and other guys happening. But that was the first time that it, to me, was a thing where people were like.
And on the back of Anti-Hero also in Austin, you know, when we were trying to replace Hulk Hogan in the early 90s, they trotted out Lex Luger, for example. That didn't go quite as planned, but, you know, it was, in my mind, just the changing of the tastes of the audience. They didn't want another Hulk Hogan.
Right.
And that was the case.
And I think that,
you know, Cena, I felt like they didn't want another Hulk Hogan.
No, yeah, that's a good point. I figured it was, and that's a really good point. But I always looked at it as people just kind of being a little bit in on, like, the fans being a little smarter about the way the business works. And they're like, oh, you're pushing this guy. Like, oh, he's the guy. Okay. Oh, he's the guy you put the money behind.
Right. People have and more of a grasp on the backstage machinations of everything.
You're not letting me create a guy or let me organically start cheering for a guy. You're making me cheer for this guy because he's winning every time. You know, you're forcing him. You're forcing this whole good guy thing down my throat. So that was where I felt like kind of a, I guess, an adverse effect of like the era where the fans got a little smarter is that we could see trends happening, you know, in real time. And we're like, oh, okay, he ends every show. He starts every show. He wins every match. Okay, he's clearly your choice. Whereas Stone Cold Steve Austin and those guys were kind of built organically. You know, through a struggle, through a, you know,
and it was realer. You know? It was less white meat, but it was, in my mind, more in touch with the audience and their sensibilities. And what's funny is now, at least over the last couple weeks, I think they're ready for Hogan again. I see Cody going out there, American Nightmare, all this, and with the bleach blonde hair. And I'm thinking maybe, you know, the WWE universe is ready for another Hogan.
I mean, look at the way they've treated Cody since WrestleMania. Like, that will absolutely let you think like, oh, wow, like we do want a white meat baby face. We want the good guy.
Yeah, he's back in style, it seems. People
say what they want about the old man, about Vince, man. But Vince knows trends in this business better than anybody. And he's always, you know, and he doesn't always get it right, but he's always willing to take a risk. And he's always, I think he's right more often than he's wrong, you know, when it comes to things like this, being like, okay, all businesses run in cycles. And so, you know, you've gone through the era where we didn't want a Hulk Hogan, but I think you're right. Like, his reaction has showed me like, yeah, we do want just a good old guy, you know, like these are the times where we need a good guy out there, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say, just to be clear, we are, I would say, Moulz, I think I could speak for you. We are Vince McMahon respecters on this show for sure. You know,
Okay.
We're aware of his, you know, faults and controversies, but I mean, the dude is a legend.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, it's a business of cycles. I mean, it's the classic, they love you, then they hate you, then they love you again. I mean, we saw it with John Cena. It's like, yeah, when he first, like, it's always funny when I hear, you know, I guess the generation above me talk about, you know, kind of becoming lapsed around that period, because I was still pretty much tapped in when John Cena's, I guess, ascension happened. And for me, I was like 11, 12, 13, 14. I liked him. So I guess maybe because I liked him, I didn't mind him winning all the time, you know?
Okay.
And I definitely picked up on the fact that he was getting booed, but I was like, look, whatever. I like this guy.
My issue wasn't really so much with him as it was, number one, with Brock. My number one issue was with Brock Lesnar, because they brought him in the black tights, which just was like, don't do that, because Austin has black tights. And they made him more dominant than Kurt Angle was in his rookie year. He got to the world title quicker. He was more physically imposing. And, you know, they were going to feed Angle to him. And I saw all the writing on the wall, and it made me very upset, because I was a huge Angle mark. And I think the last TV match I watched until Mania 28 was Angle versus Lesnar Iron Man match on SmackDown. That might have been the big hurrah for me.
Yeah.
And then that was it. Like, I just wasn't feeling Lesnar. I remember when I heard he was leaving the company, I was like, yeah, serves them right. They built the whole company around this asshole, and now he's leaving. Fuck them. You know, now I think Brock Lesnar is just the absolute biggest beast of all time. Like, I fucking love the guy. So I was wrong about everyone that I hated in 2002. I was wrong about Randy Orton. He won me over, like, before Cena and Lesnar even did. But by 2012, I was so into the Lesnar return, and I was really into respecting John Cena after he lost to The Rock. I thought, like, that's the right thing to do. You lose to The Rock, and you make him look good, and now I respect you. Thank you. And of course,
sure.
You know, they come back the next year, they run it back one more time.
Yeah, that was great, man. Do you think, well, for me, I was a huge Lesnar fan the moment I saw him. I mean, I had never seen anything like that guy, you know, that I think that kind of made me peek back a little bit at wrestling. I'm like, whoa, who is this guy?
The whole next big thing.
He's huge. They call him the next big thing. He's got wings on his back. He's jumping over the top rope. He's just power bombing the shit out of people. Like, I just really was so intrigued by that.
That's all. I was just very territorial of Kurt Angle, and someone came in with, you know, not Olympic gold, but similar chops, a more impressive physique. You know, he has that amateur background, and I'm just like, oh man, Kurt's fucked.
Should I hit the drop for you, Moulz?
You fucking mark!
Don't listen. I've mentioned it on the show before. I had a full-on temper tantrum at what age was I? That's important to note. At age 15, I had a full-on temper tantrum after Kurt didn't win the Vengeance 2002 triple threat between him, The Rock, and The Undertaker.
Wow.
I couldn't handle being a wrestling fan anymore. That's the truth, okay? I couldn't handle it anymore. They worked me to the point of, like, you know, I was going to do something crazy if I kept watching. Like, I needed to stop watching Kurt Angle. It was doing something to my psyche.
Wow. Kurt's got a great podcast. I don't know if you've listened. But,
yeah, of
his
course.
stories are awesome, man. I really love, like, walking through those times in history with him. Like, yeah, he's got a great story.
There's so much. I almost don't want to get into it because I'll get very emotional talking about it.
Yeah.
He's the first person we ever had do a drop for our podcast, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
He was the first person I thought to ask because
Wow.
I'm still that big of a fan, and I don't want to talk about his comeback.
No.
I'll say, you know what? We got him in 2K19, and we got him in action figure form through Mattel, and we got the DVD set finally, the 3 DVD Kurt Angle best of. That's the return in my mind. And you know what? The match with Ronda Rousey was good. The mixed tag.
Yes, that was good. So we have some good moments, but yeah, his last run was rough. I could just kept thinking like, stop, Kurt, stop, no. Yeah. But back to this song though, I want to ask you guys, have you seen what's been going around lately? There's a video of John Cena performing this live at Raw. Have you guys seen this?
No.
It's been popping up on Twitter. I don't remember the year, but man, like it's been really good. If I find it, I'll send it to you guys. It's him and I think the Trademarc's there and like another hype man. And what's so great about it is Cena starts the rap, like the DJ is up on the stage, and he starts the rap and he starts walking down the ramp, and he's trying to get the hype men to come down the ramp with him. And he's like, yo, come down here. Yo, come down here. Because like pyro is about to go off.
Oh
no. And he's like, yo. He's like, yo, come on. And they're all like, make some noise. John Cena in the building. And he's like, come here now.
Oh man.
Wow. Oh, it's so good.
I gotta see that. Oh my God.
I'll send you a link. It's so good.
There's got to be a dilemma trying not to break character, but also let these hype men know, like, you're gonna be like freaking weenie roast if you don't get down here. Yeah.
There's been like a lot of unfortunate pyro accidents over the years, haven't there? Been like Jeff Hardy, I think, of Undertaker.
Taker probably played it off better than a lot of people I've seen. Like, what happened with him? Didn't his hair caught fire? Or like,
you know, the flames that shoot up when he comes out in his like modern day entrance.
Yeah.
Like his coat caught fire, and it's got like to his arm and his back and whatnot.
I recall him, if I recall correctly, he just kind of like patted at it real quick. Like he got it off, but like, you know, when you're such a like gimmick intensive character like the Undertaker, that's gotta be a troubling experience, right?
You're like, oh man, I can't sell this. I mean, Vince McMahon tore 2 quads in the middle of the freaking ring. And just sat there like a G, like didn't scream, didn't cry, didn't let on at all. I was like, why is he sitting down?
Yeah, I just remember it's like Cena and Batista are looking at him like,
what is he doing? He's like, no, this story got to go on. You go do what you got to do. He's just pointing, barking out orders. Not a sign of pain on his face. I was like, this dude is gangster. Like you blow both knees. You just right there, just sitting in the middle of the ring. And you're like, man. Whew. Oh man, he has the ultimate respect for that. I sent you guys in the chat the link to the Twitter video.
I'll definitely check that out after. This is actually a great transition because the thing about John Cena as a rapper, like it was always an appealing part of his character to me. You know, I mean, I guess being, you know, just a young black man in America, but it was never quite like the rapper gimmick that got him totally over for me. I just became a fan of the whole like fighting spirit, sort of like never say die. Like, I think what really truly got him over for me was that feud with JBL, because he was like the rich, like, you know, sort of bougie Texan aristocratic, like your gutter trash. Like that's how he was talking to John Cena. And it was like, you know, it was basically like the kid from the streets versus like the ivory tower high rise Texan dude.
Yeah.
And I always enjoyed the raps. Like I enjoyed the spinner belts. Like I had the US title spinner belt. I eventually got the WWE title spinner belt.
I thought the spinner belt was the corniest thing ever.
And that's another thing where it's like I was a kid, so I dug it.
I get it. I like now that I got a lot more perspective from hearing you talk about it. Being like a 12 to 15-year-old at this time, it's like the dopest thing ever. When you're like a 22 to 25-year-old, like I was, you're like, man, what is this? So I was like, what disrespect to the business of wrestling.
Right. There were a lot of purists. Like, this is an abomination.
You know what I mean? That's the way I thought. I was like, we come from the 10 pounds of gold to this, a spinner? What is wrong with wrestling right now? And like for the spinner to follow him was wow. Like it was a spinner on the US title when he got that. Mm-hmm. And then he gets the world title. It's like, they got to do that one too. Right. Like, yo,
it was the whole anti-authoritarian angle that I think really sort of in the same way Stone Cold had that going for him. It's like, he's going to take this thing and basically desecrate it, but he's really just making it his own style, and I dug that. I might be alone in this, but
I don't like how they adopted the look of the spinner belt for the belt that followed the spinner belt when someone else won it. I
was fine with that because I always liked the look of it. I didn't mind when they took the spinner away. The spinner wasn't necessary.
I'm never mad at a wrestler having their own unique belt. I think of like Daniel Bryan with the the hemp championship, or Naomi
that was great.
With like the light up championship. So those are ones where it's like, okay, this isn't going to go on to the next person who wins it, so it's fine.
I mean, to me, it was better than the undisputed title. Like the one, it was just black and gold. Like, I like in between the Attitude Era round belt and the John Cena belt.
I haven't liked the world title since the undisputed, and I wasn't a big fan of that one either, to be honest.
That's funny. I associate that one with Brock Lesnar. Like that's the Brock Lesnar belt for me.
Right, that's the Brock.
Yeah.
Yeah, no surprise. I'm not the biggest fan of that belt.
Right.
I didn't hate it, but it was just like when the Cena belt debuted.
I thought it was iller when like Jericho was walking around with the WCW and the WWE.
Belts,
Yes, I love that. I like when they do that. Just keep both belts, and like the more belts you are, like the more badass you are. The more belts you have, it just means you're like twice as badass. Like,
yeah. Cool. That is for the cooler you look. I mean, just let them have both belts. I mean,
but you got if you want to sell toys, then I get it. You want to put a new belt out there, you got to sell some toys.
I bought them toys for sure.
And the spinner toy belt from Jax was a huge seller for them.
I think that's why, because it's weird. I associate that spinner belt with Edge more than Cena. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because like Edge made his career getting that belt.
Yep.
And never changed it, and I think maybe they do an Edge, like an rated R spinner or something
on the side straps, they put the R on there.
Okay, I saw there was a custom belt when I was at Mania. They were selling a custom rated R. I think it was a spinner, like the R was in the middle and would spin. And I was like, did he ever use that? Because that's interesting.
When he cashed in the Money in the Bank on John Cena and then won the title, I think he changed it over like to mock him, basically.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Got it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But these lyrics, though.
These lyrics. Because this is a rap podcast. We're wrestling fans. We definitely go off in the deep end a lot when it comes to that. But
you're gonna have your listeners being like, "What the hell?"
Forever in terms of what's going on here lyrically.
Well, see, here's the thing, Mega Ran. Our listeners, they know because we did a review of what was it, WWF Aggression back in like season 5.
Oh, I love that album.
So, we they know how we get down. They know about us.
Okay, so this won't be
talk about this.
This won't be a surprise. Now, there's some lines in here like. First, I was like, when this whole thing happened, I was like, John Cena doesn't have time to write lyrics. There's no way he wrote this. Maybe the reason he put Trademarc on here is because Trademarc wrote stuff. That's what I kept thinking, because like the whole album's like featuring Trademarc.
Yeah, his cousin Trademarc.
This is like his cousin. So I was like, clearly his cousin wrote this stuff. But I don't know, man. I feel like Trademarc's verses are a little stronger than John's. So Cena probably wrote this stuff. All right, so there's a line that I never let it go by without acknowledging it. Is they going fishing with no bait. Can't your boy hold weight? I got my soul straight. I'll brush your mouth like Colgate. Bars. I mean, there's Rakim, and then there's this. I mean, there's yo. Is there some sort of is there a genius annotation for this? Because what is he trying to say when he says, I brush your mouth?
For years, I was like, I just let it slide. And then I'm like, because I guess I just wanted to fill in the blank. I'm like, brush your mouth. Okay, I punch you in the mouth.
Maybe I'll punch you in the mouth.
Slap you into something. I guess,
shuffle.
but it's right. But okay. It's a stretch. It's a stretch. It's totally a stretch.
It is a stretch.
The interesting thing about this verse from John Cena, in listening to this album, preparing for this episode all week, I realized something that kind of helped me nail down how I was going to approach this album as a whole. I heard this song so many times that it stopped being a rap song. It became a wrestling theme. And I know how I feel about wrestling themes. As long as they fit the character and they get me excited for them coming out, I'm in love with it. So as a wrestling thing, this is an all-timer for me. But this week, recontextualize it as a rap song again, which hurt it. Which is what robbed it of the 9 that I was thinking about giving it. Because now I was able to exist in a world for a long time where it's okay, this is the only moment where John Cena is going to rap. So it's okay. It's a theme. It's for a theme song. But then once this song goes off and you have to hear other songs where he's rapping, it reminds you, right, this is a rap song. And as far as being a rap song, it's not really meeting a certain standard.
Doesn't quite hold up.
Right. So it's
even with the fact that we're all saying right here on the show, we're all somewhat biased because we're marks.
Right. Oh yeah. The fact that it did what it's supposed to do, I give it way too much credit for that. It is still a legendary song that'll live forever. And that's in the context of it being the introduction. You're about to see John Cena wrestle, which is now a special thing. You know what I mean? Because you don't see him that often. So, so in that case, time has been very, very good to this song. I actually liked what was the one before this? The Basic Thugonomics one a little better, just I think lyrically. But still they weren't, both very good. But I feel like he was rhyming a little harder on that one. And
it was a grimier beat. This is
it's a grimier
beat. Kind of stadium beat. I think this works better as entrance music.
Yeah.
But the Thugonomics definitely has a grittier sound to it than this does.
For sure. And so here's a part where kind of the fourth wall breaks, and it's bar 4 or 5 on this, where he says, the franchise doing big business. I live this. It's automatic. I win this. When you hear those horns, you finished. So it's when this song plays, you know that it's over. You know that I won. If you're hearing this, I won.
When you look at it in that way, it's hilarious. Yeah.
Right. It's I'm in on the Super Cena. I win when this song plays.
To that point, a certain line in the chorus hit me harder, and this is totally just me being sensitive this week specifically. But I never thought about this line really much until this week. It's your time is up, my time is now. And it made my stomach hurt. I'm stop trying to end people's time. Wait your turn. Let people have their time. Now, I feel this way, admittedly, because we're in the midst of the NBA Finals and I'm a Warriors fan. And they're the older, more experienced team, but I want them to keep winning. And the Celtics are young and hungry. And, John Cena is he's got a whole Boston anthem on this album. Guy. He's from Massachusetts. That's what you like. So I'm just thinking like about this time when the time is now came out. He was the young upstart, like ready to snatch, his time. And I'm like, no, not yet. No, like,
wait a minute.
Can't be now. Like,
so
it really made me nervous this week.
Wait, so this song is the Celtics theme song of the finals?
Well, no, it isn't. Be. It's just me being sensitive, associated.
It could be. With John being from Boston, why not?
It could be.
Right. Like, so when I hear that, your time is up, my time is now, I'm like, no, not yet. Please, God, no. So like, I was a little biased in that. I mean, it didn't hurt the rate. Like, I'm able to be stable enough to I still appreciate I've been with this theme longer than I've, hated the Celtics. So it's like, okay, I'm able to deal with that responsibly. But yeah, certain lines like that, and the line you pointed out, it's like, yeah, I mean, he was eventually Super Cena. So it's funny hearing those lines, knowing the run he would go on, but we know, being like, I guess, smart marks, being fans that have more of a look behind the curtain, we can identify the trends of the business more. You realize that there's always going to be a need for this kind of character, for this kind of person, because this is the tentpole, under which the rest of the business can thrive. I know it's frustrating sometimes as a fan when you want a change of scenery, but it's like, without a John Cena, you got to think about
change of scenery.
Hey,
oh wow, there you go, bars.
Hey, yo.
Right, yeah. But like, I'm reminded of, as much as people would, this is actually a great transition. I think the defining characteristic, shout out to Jake One, of this beat is the horns, the dun, 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 dun. But it's like around that time, it turned into like Kurt, you suck. The version for John Cena was John Cena sucks. John Cena sucks. That's what they would say that or during that theme. Once they started getting sick of him, he was Super Cena. And the funny thing about the previous theme song in relation to this one, I think obviously as he got bigger and became the face of the company, those rap aspects of his character became secondary, and then they eventually became pretty much non-existent. Like the chain gang stuff faded away, the rapping before matches faded away, the chains, the jerseys.
Yeah.
He started wearing like bright neon and wristbands. And I love that Cena too. But it's like, it's the natural, I guess, way that things progress. There's a whole conversation that could be had about, hip hop and its image and, its viability on a mainstream level. But, those aspects kind of faded away. So it makes sense that original theme was harder and maybe more authentically rap sounding. This one is still a rap song, but it almost feels like a boxer's theme. It's like, it's very triumphant, it works more as a theme song. And then eventually a lot of those characteristics will fade away, but we kept the theme because the theme is still money. And John Cena's still money. And to all the Cena haters who eventually came around, okay, I just want to say I was on board the whole time. I knew how important this man was. He's an American
hero. You were a baby.
Hero.
Of course you were on board.
Well, here's the thing. To clarify, folks, I am an unstable person, but that's not why I cried seeing John Cena come out on stage. It was because John Cena, at this point in the business of the WWE, in the history of the business, at this point in the history of the world, I feel like it's rare that we're even presented these like total baby faces anymore, like the hero character. So like one day he came out, it was sometime in the past 2 years, like, he's part of his part-time run. He came out and he was like talking to the camera and like waving the towel and like, let's go to work. Like, let's make the donuts or whatever he was saying. Yeah. And I just broke down. I'm like, this guy, we need this still. Like, we need this still. Like, because it's a dark world. And it's like John Cena represents an idealistic.
I know you're a bit lapsed right now yourself, but I'm telling you right now, brother, if you watch Monday Night Raw, dude, and you become a Cody maniac, brother, you can believe again, dude.
Oh my God. Well, no, listen, you know me. I'm running with the tribal chief. Okay.
You're running with the chief. Okay.
They eventually came around on him, but there was a while, where, they were pushing back against Vince. Roman was hated. Sadly, I think it took him revealing like the leukemia diagnosis for people to stop giving him such a hard time and realize, yo, he's been entertaining us despite this. I think that kind of helped the trans. Plus, him turning heel did wonders for him.
Oh, yeah.
He's money now. I mean,
I've had some friends talk about it. We debate, like, did he need to go through the rough patches to get to where he is now?
In today's world, I think yes.
Yeah, like we had to see him stumble, struggle. We had to boo him, all these things.
Also,
like,
low key,
to
like
get here.
the biggest bangers in his career are TV matches from those rough patches.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's harder to try to push things onto the modern audience. So it was almost inevitable that there would be an immense amount of pushback before people finally found a way to appreciate this guy. I mean, because here's the thing, it's a drop we play often on the show, but there was that time where Cena came back and he hit him with that promo.
I'm still here because you can't do your job.
And it was like, that was a huge thing because that was around the time people started appreciating Cena again.
Yeah.
So it was like, you're supposed to be the guy. You're supposed to take over for me. And they had to bring me back because, so that was that whole lineage, And this song just reminds me of everything he's done for the company, despite it not being a, unfadable rap song, despite the similes being sort of either
like
questionable, like brush your mouth like Colgate.
Lightning.
All right, or simple, like thunder and lightning, harder than nails, all that stuff. But again, like, I excuse it because it's a wrestling theme. Like, it almost becomes a part of the music. Like, they cease to be lyrics. It's like kind of how you can remember songs just based on, phonetically how they sound. Like, it's one of those things where, like, I realize, I know these lyrics, not because it's just I've heard it so many times that it's just my brain. In case you forgot, I fell off. I'm still hot. Knock your shell off. It's not something that I took time to commit to memory. It just became a part of me, And to that point, too, I hate to say this because he has his moments throughout the album, but, like, I forget Trademarcs on the song because it became a wrestling song to me. So, like, when he comes in, I'm like, all right, there's Trademark, and it's like, and I hate to be like dismissive. It's like, well, you ain't John Cena, so I don't want to hear you. It's not so much that, but it's like after John Cena's done rapping, the theme is over to me in my mind.
Right.
Like
it's over.
It's over. So when he starts rapping, I'm like, oh man, there's more. Like I can't give it a 9 now. Because now it's a rap song. Now I have to deal with it as a rap song. And if we're gonna do that, there's only so much I can do.
Yeah, it should have been like a loop from that point. Like from the end of his verse, they could have looped it.
It's almost a disservice to Trademarc because it's like he could have been on every other song, but the theme, throwing him on the theme and he's rapping in a more conventionally rap way. John Cena has this kind of like puffed out delivery like a wrestler should have. Trademarc's kind of flowing, it's going to be what it's going to be. Like he's rapping. And it's like, no, don't rap. This is a thing. It's a wrestling theme song.
This is not the time for that. Not the time for that.
There's plenty of times throughout the album to rap where he's making John Cena look silly. So yeah, it's best of love. That's my catchphrase on the show. Best of love to Trademarc. Is no ill, feeling towards you. It's just it was wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it just. Hearing it as a full song made me realize, oh man, I guess I don't really care about the presence of this other guy on the song. But yeah, once I just taking it into consideration as a wrestling theme and also as a rap song, I had to settle on an 8. I like it a lot, despite everything. I'm always going to like it a lot. Second, you hear that, dun, you go nuts. Like you have to
the build up is nice too. That dun, dun,
yeah, it's a really good build up.
Yeah. And I'm glad we got Mega Ran here because I want to ask him. Also, you Moulz. There's before they launch into like the chorus section, everything he makes a noise, and I was anxious to go on we call it the bad website genius.com because there's often a lot of mistranscriptions, and
I think we've been through this before.
Oh yeah,
on our
reaches.
Genius needs
it's this specific sound you're saying.
Oh, the sound. Okay, you know where I'm going with this. He yelled like it's. So the bad website says, he says Amadou, like Amadou Diallo, and it's sampled from MOP's Annie Up.
Yes, it
is sampled from MOP's Annie Up.
MOP Warriors review, Mel. We already
did we? Okay, I
before.
forgot. It's even weirder to me this time though, because it's like it's such a weird thing to just say or sample. Now maybe Jake One did it, you know, and maybe
that's a Jake One 1000%, because MOP their acapellas are used frequently. You know, I think of Mad Lib and Jay Dilla, they would sample MOP all the time, acapellas for their beats.
Yeah, because they had the best like ad libs. So
that energy, right?
That you know, putting that stuff into the beats would add some things to it. So I don't think Amadou is what is being said. That's funny. Homeboy Sandman and me talk about Genius. He said Genius is the website that makes smart people look dumb and dumb people look smart.
There you go. That's a great way to put it.
Like they don't know what's going on. It's just somebody's best guess. So I do not think he's saying Amadou. It's just I think it's just a sound. It's just
right. Like it's just no. I always heard like as a kid, I'm like, is he saying afternoon? Like good afternoon. We're about to wrestle. Like I was never sure, but I like it. Yeah, afternoon.
That's good. That's good. Afternoon. Yeah, that's funny because like the internet thinks it's like Rapadoo.
Rapadoo.
Yeah, people think it's Rapadoo. Like what? Why? Why would that be a thing that somebody would say?
You never know. You never know. I like the noise, so.
No, I don't want to have to cut this off, but Mega Ran's been very generous with his time. Before he goes, though, I want to play some new music from him.
Hey.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. We got to do that, you know?
So we have 2 records here. I think we can play both if you have some time.
Sure.
Play both back to back. So let's play Goodbye to the Bad Guy. Hey, yo.
This is a tribute to Scott Hall and his memory, Razor Ramon, all of the great things he brought to wrestling. Most importantly, he brought cool to wrestling. And he'll be missed, man. My man G1 to the rescue to the beat. It's a little bit of a flip and play on the Say Hello Jay-Z record from American Gangster. So yeah, this is Say Goodbye to the Bad Guy.
So say good night to the bad guy. Come on. The last time you're gonna see a bad guy like this again, let me tell you.
Survey time. Yeah. Who walked the streets of Opalaka with like 5 chains? From the first, hey yo, he took over the game. Smoking Cubans, man, you swore that he was Cuban. Swag before swag, man, the machismo was oozing. I'm still a teen, walking around with a toothpick. Calling teachers Chico, trying to be like my hero. Razor, such an extraordinary player. So much flavor, nobody could do it greater. Kicked off the Monday Night Wars. Made you question everything you thought you knew before. From the first power bomb proceeding with the crucifix. Hair back, super slick, ain't no one as cool as this. Nah, many duplicated, but nobody passed by. So we gotta toast one time. Guess we gotta say goodbye to the bad guy. Bye to the bad guy. Too sweet for life to do is mad fly. They say he had his demons. Show me someone who didn't. I dwell on what he was, never on what he is. Say goodbye to the bad guy. Bye to the bad guy. Too sweet for life to do is mad fly. They say he had his demons. Show me someone who didn't. I dwell on what he was. No time for what he isn't. Ready or not, catch him surfing through the crowd. Show me that to be heard, you ain't gotta be loud. Now trust me, it's touched me. The love's felt all across the country. Only God can judge him. Yeah, only he without sin can tell me if the means to justify the ends. Yeah, but you can't teach cool. Something happened to the jewels. Something happening to you. Remember, bad guys used to get the booze. That all changed thanks to you. Guess we gotta say goodbye to the bad guy. Bye to the bad guy. Too sweet for life to do is mad fly. They say he had his demons. Show me someone who didn't. I dwell on what he was, never on what he is. Say goodbye to the bad guy, bye to the bad guy. Too sweet for life to do his mad fly. They say he had his demons. Show me someone who didn't. I dwell on what he was. No time for what he is.
Back when WCW had nothing to do with a woman crush. New World Order captured the attention of a bunch of us. A 6'7" stud used to be managed by Diamond. Roll with a crew of defiance. Wrestling psychology, mastered the science. I was an outsider watching outsiders, and next to Nash. His will to go against the grain, that had me all attached. One of the best finishes. You kidding me? Raise them high, arms stretched, they fall out, boy. Thanks for the memories. I dug them with the red and black drip. Mad fly. Him and the crew were taking out some of these mad guys, but now some of those same guys are legends, meeting them at the pearly gates, telling our creator, say hi to the bad guy.
Say hello.
I guess y'all ain't hear me. Hey, yo, God. Say hi
Guess
to
we
the
gotta
bad
say
guy.
goodbye to the bad guy. Bye to the bad guy. Too sweet for life to do his mad fly. They say he had his demons. Show me someone who didn't. I dwell on what he was, never on what he is. Say goodbye to the bad guy. Bye to the bad guy. Too sweet for life to do his mad fly. They say he had his demons. Show me someone who didn't. I dwell on what he was. No time for what he is. Hard work pays off. Dreams do come true. Bad times don't last, but the bad guys do. Hard work pays off. Dreams do come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do.
Oh man.
Hey.
I just need to say, this is my third time hearing it, and I just caught the Ready or Not line.
Now that's a bit of an Easter egg. You gotta dig deep and know. So yeah, when he debuted in ECW, he came out to Fuji's Ready or Not.
Yeah.
And it was a moment, man. It's one of the biggest pops most electric pops, like for a small building, that I've ever seen. Like you can feel it through the screen.
No, if you've never seen this, it's definitely worth pulling up.
Oh, it's so cool.
You would definitely get a kick out of it. So we do have one more. If you guys like Scott Hall, you should enjoy this as well.
I didn't realize it was a double feature of Scott Hall.
Yeah, it's a double feature. This is off of Matt Mania The Revenge, and it's New World Order with Teak Hall as well.
Yeah. All right, here we go. I'm sorry, I was getting emotional. That was a great tribute. I had to get myself together. Okay, here we go.
The following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
What up? T-Hall. We came in and spray painted the titles. We went here, we no longer your idols. Hollywood, Hulk Hogan and outsiders. Threw the wrestling world into a crisis. For life, shit was never overnight. The bars that I write, they deserve 5 mics. I mean, we had Dennis Rodman, Tyson. Eric Bischoff was a tyrant, the ladder he was climbing. And those black and white vignettes was the best ever provided. Pirate in the airwaves, never going off. Better tell Billionaire Ted to break us off. Scott Hall got the cattle prod, you don't want the drama dog. Eggs Goldberg, nah, not at all. Figure poker doom, then we laugh at y'all. NWO was the battle call.
We nice with ours,
No forgetting it poppin',
cause life is short.
and it's nothing without option.
Yeah, no way out.
The illest without a doubt,
Opponents walk in,
but they never walking out.
New World Order, yeah.
New World Order, yeah.
New World Order, yeah.
New World Order, yeah.
You know who I am, but not what I'm here for. Bought a ticket just to kick it, cause I heard you want a war. Keep the titles, we your idols, we came to burn it down. Where the big boys play, huh? We don't play around. Who could corrupt the mind of the world's wrestling icon? Tag a championship belt with crime line. Title marked up like the subway in Harlem. Got a better two-man team, gonna call them awesome. Can't beat us, join us, can't see us. Pointless, stepping up, we ain't diplomatic, we destroyers. Accept no substitute unless you going to school. We were ignoring the rules way before it was cool. Pirate radio, black and white, keep them acting right. It's two of us, one of you, that's a fight. We crew deep, make headlines like Newsweek. Papa got a new beat and it's just two. We nice with ours,
No forgetting and popping.
cause life is short.
And it's nothing without option.
Yeah, no way out.
The illest without a doubt.
Opponents walk in,
But they never walking out.
New world order, yeah.
New world order, yeah.
New world order, yeah.
New world order, yeah.
There we go. NWO for life.
So I must say,
Nice.
Mega Ran, I've been at both locations, and I just have to say that as a guest, you have been just too sweet.
Thank you.
So yeah, I really appreciate you joining us, and if you have any plugs you'd like to give, shout outs, anything like that, the floor is yours.
Oh man. Well, just played that record. So shout out to Teak Hall. Shout out to Links Kinetic who did that beat. The whole Matt Mania crew, G1 to the rescue, Neo X. Matt Mania podcasts are right now intermittently coming to you as we can get the crew together to drop some wrestling talks. So be on the lookout for those. We do them live on Twitch. I stream video games and DJ on Twitch a few days a week. And I put out 2 songs a month on Patreon. So patreon.com/Megaran is a good place for that. There may be some tours coming up soon. So keep an eye on Megaran.com for the information.
Awesome.
Sounds great.
So yeah, thank you again for joining us, and we have, what is this, 16 more tracks now coming up.
Sadly, we may have already peaked, but
Oh man.
that's for the rest. That's for the audience to find out. John Cena, it may be all downhill from here, pal. We don't know yet. But
Right.
Thank you
be
again,
the judge.
and yeah, we'll speak with you soon.
Thank you again. All right. Talk soon, guys.
Peace.
Yo, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all the other episodes, stop by raprankings.com or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform.